Have you ever thought about this? That small piece of paper you carry in your pocket today, or the digital balance on your phone, could actually be nothing? I mean, really. One day you wake up and everyone says, this is no longer valuable. What would you do? What's even more interesting is this. For most of human history, money didn't even exist. There were no banks, no credit cards, and no economic system like the one we're used to today. So how did people trade? The answer is actually simple. Barter. Before Christ, people exchanged what they had to meet their needs. Let's say you're a farmer and you have wheat, but you need meat. You go to a hunter, you give him wheat, and he gives you meat. At first it sounds logical, right? But there's a big problem here. What if the hunter doesn't want wheat? What if he needs milk instead? This is where the system breaks down. You have something valuable, but the other person doesn't want it. In that case, trade stops. Humanity faced a major problem at this exact point, and that problem led to one of the most important inventions in history: money. But money didn't appear overnight. At first, people started to treat certain things as common forms of value: seashells, salt, animal skins, precious stones. In fact, in some regions, salt was so valuable that people were paid with it. But the problems didn't go away, because this system didn't work the same everywhere. Something valuable in one place could be worthless somewhere else. And on top of that, it was hard to carry, hard to divide, and hard to store. So humanity still hadn't found the perfect solution. Then people realized something critical. They needed something that was valuable, portable, divisible, and accepted by everyone. With this realization, the first real money appeared. The first known coins in history were minted around 600 BC by the Lydian kingdom, in what is now modern-day Turkey. These coins were usually made of a mixture of gold and silver, and their most important feature was this: they had a state stamp on them. Do you know what that meant? People could now trust that the money was real, and that trust changed everything. People no longer argued about value. Trade became faster. The economy started to grow. Humanity took its first step into a structured economic system. But there was still a problem. Metal coins were heavy. Especially in large trades, people had to carry kilos of gold with them. This was both difficult and risky. That's when paper money appeared. It was first used in China, but over time it spread to Europe and the system evolved. People started to accept this idea. The piece of paper in my hand represents value. In other words, the paper itself wasn't important. The trust behind it was. Now we've reached a very critical point. Is the money in your pocket actually valuable? Or is it only valuable because everyone believes it is? The answer to this question brings us to today. If I asked you which country has the strongest economy in the world today, you'd probably give the same answer: the United States. But why? Why is the United States the largest economy in the world? Let's talk with numbers. About a quarter of the global economy belongs to the United States. The dollar is the world's reserve currency. A large portion of global trade is conducted in dollars. So in many ways, the center of the world economy is the United States. You can even see this in daily life. Think about an average person living in the United States. They wake up, buy coffee, and pay with a card. They call a ride, pay with a card. They shop, pay with a card. Do you notice something? Money isn't even physical anymore. It's just a number on a screen. And there's only one reason this system works: trust. If people lose trust in those numbers, the system collapses. Now let me ask you a very important question. What happens if one day everyone stops trusting the dollar? Would the United States still be a superpower? That question leads us to a bigger comparison. Is the United States stronger, or is Europe? Europe is made up of many powerful countries: Germany, France, Italy. But the United States is a single country, and despite that, it's economically larger than most European countries. For example, the US economy is several times larger than Germany's. Most of the world's biggest technology companies are based in the US. Its financial system has global influence. But this doesn't mean the United States is better at everything. The real question is this: where is life better? The United States or Europe? Let's make it even clearer. Is the United States stronger than Germany? Does the United States offer a better life than France? This is where most people are divided. But the facts are clear. The United States grows fast, but it's risky. Europe is more balanced and more secure. In the United States, there is a higher earning potential, but the fall can be harder. In Europe, the system protects you more, but it's harder to rise extremely high. Now we're getting to the most critical part. How much does money determine your life? Think about a single day. The food you eat, money. The phone you use, money. The house you live in, money. How you spend your time, again, money. In fact, behind most things in your life, there is one thing: money. And here's the truth. If you don't have money, your options shrink. You can't live the life you want. You can't make the decisions you want. You can't use your time freely. That's why money is not just a tool, it's also power. But there's an important distinction here. Money determines two things. Either you control money, or money controls you. Most people are in the second group. They work, earn, spend, and repeat their whole lives. But a small group tries to understand money, and they figure out the system. That's where the difference is created. Now we've reached the final part. The world is changing. Money is changing. Digital payment systems are spreading. Cash is decreasing. Control is increasing. And today, the United States is still the most powerful player. But will it always stay that way? History tells us this. No power stays at the top forever. So the real question is this: sustainability. Because most people follow the system. But a small group sees the system before it happens. And the winners are always that group. Now I'll ask you one final question. If you lost everything today, could you make money again with your knowledge? If your answer is yes, you've already understood the game. But if your answer is no, then this is exactly where you need to change. Because money is not just something in your pocket. It's a tool that determines the direction of your life. And in this game, you either play or you watch.